Yo guys, Visionary Gen here, back with more Marvel Rivals content ahead of the upcoming Season 4 update set to launch on September 12th, 2025. In this video, I'll break down an overview of all of the upcoming changes regarding buffed and nerfed heroes, the new hero Angela, and some other features too, which will impact the current meta and hopefully improve the overall experience of matchmaking and competitive, as well as just generally throughout. So on that note, let's get right into it. So I guess first things first, as a general overview of the upcoming update, some of the heroes are set to be altered and some are going to be buffed and try and improve the experience of the game and create new metas. And with the new hero Angela, who will be a Vanguard in this game with a new and removed team abilities as well, we should hopefully have a new and improved matchmaking experience throughout, with different heroes becoming meta, whilst existing current meta heroes will be nerfed and altered, but hopefully not hindered in too much, and these changes should be effective. Now also, as well as this, as I said, Angela is going to be a Vanguard with insane mobility, being a flying Vanguard, the first one in the game, with incredible AoE and crowd control potential, with combinations of setting up other teammates with both her ultimate and her new team ability with Thor, which we'll go over at the end. Now I will be making a separate guide next week upon release of this video in itself to actually show off all of her abilities in a bit more depth and the character in itself. So basically stay tuned in case you guys are interested and want to learn more about how to use the character, all of the damage outputs and all of the sort of specific numbers that I'll go into, as I have done with all of the guides that are already on the channel. Now as well as this, we should hopefully see with the arrival of Angela, it's likely to shake up the meta in itself with many buffs and nerfs throughout, which I'll discuss very, very shortly. And before we get on to that, I just wanted to discuss the brand new map in Marvel Rivals, which is going to be based in Kunlun, known as the Heart of Heaven or Heart to Heaven, which looks incredible with a nice new twist to this season, a different theme in itself, and I'm always happy to get a brand new convergence map, which is what this is going to be in competitive. So let's just see how this plays out with the lore in itself being based around Iron Fist, and of course introducing the brand new hero Angela, and eventually Daredevil in Season 4.5, who has already been confirmed as, I think, duelist in this game. Now onto the buffed heroes, nerfs, and team abilities. First up is the hero buffs, kicking it off with Doctor Strange, who gets a bit of a nerf to start with, and then buff overall, I would say, offensively. He'll be stronger in this season, I definitely think, with the fact that he's getting the Maelstrom of Madness ability, having the cooldown reduced from 8 seconds to now 6 seconds, meaning he's going to have a bit more of a pop and a bit more AoE damage just consistently. However, he has had a slight nerf to his base health, reducing from 600 to now 575. I think offensively this might be necessary to try to get him back to where he once was, but let's just see how this plays out, of course, in the new season. He's not going to be as strong as he was defensively in the past, so hopefully this might be a good sort of twist to it, and maybe we'll see more Strange, just like we did back in the day in the earlier seasons like 1 and 2. Now Penny Parker has also had a buff. Spider Drone has a new effect, as they now slow enemies when they are hit by 8% for 2 seconds, and each one that they hit stacks with the new effect and resets the slow period in itself, stacking up to 40% in itself, so 5 of them can hit an enemy, and each time it hits them, it will continuously restack that timer of 2 seconds by slowing them. As well as that, they've also reduced the Spider Drone release interval during the ultimate ability from 0.7 to now 0.5 seconds, so hopefully an improved ultimate ability, which was almost useless beforehand. So hopefully with these changes, her ultimate ability can become viable and actually do something around pushing the enemy team out and actually being effective with damage output. Thor should be in good hands this season, with an increase in movement speed during the ultimate ability as well, from 600 to 700, and after the ultimate ability lands, he will now stun surrounding enemies for 1 second, and as well as that, he's going to get a team ability with, of course, the new hero, which we'll go over shortly and at the end of the video. As well as this, Blade has had an increase to the ancestral sword damage per single slash from 22 to now 24. I think this is going to be a really good change. We'll have to see if this becomes too OP, but I think this, just the slightest change on the damage output, can really maybe influence him actually being a melee character, whereas currently he's just more known for the shotgun playstyle and actually not that affected by using his sword based on certain things. And I think over time what they're going to do, just like Human Torch, they'll slowly just buff Blade and hopefully get him into the good place where he needs to be, in good hands, and just see how it plays out. So I think this is a good change. Magic has also had a whole bunch of changes, removing her team ability, the anchor bonus, 15% damage boost that she gained before, as well as reducing the charge time required for the maximum damage from 1.8 seconds to now only 1.2 seconds. And she also has a new effect for her slash, with the new projectile now piercing through enemies and reducing the the stepping disc cooldown by 1 second for every enemy it pierces, as well as increasing the soul sword damage from 65 to 75, increasing the Eldritch World damage from 45 to 50, increasing the demon's range damage per hit from 18 to 20, as well as increasing the melee normal attack damage from 30 to 40, and during the Dark Child ultimate ability, increase the Eldritch World single hit damage from 35 to 45, as well as the Umbral incursion damage from 135 to 140. So although that sounds like a lot of buffs, you have to remember she has been removed, or had that team ability removed with Black Panther, which again I'll go over at the end and explain all of the new team ups, but now instead she's had buffs to her base stats, which means overall technically she should still be better. I think overall it works out to be slightly better on damage output, but we're going to have to see how it plays out. As well as this, Moon Knight's also had the Moon Blade now holds up to 2 charges, and each one takes 6 seconds to recharge, so this should hopefully help him a little bit better with damage output, making him a bit more consistent. As well as this, Scarlet Witch can now be healed by teammates during the Mystic projection. She's also had an increase to the Reality Erasure ultimate ability from damage from 800 to now 9999, which is a really trolly number to put down because they kind of had tweaked this back and forth time and time again to try and get this sort of ultimate to work, with steady steadily increasing it in prior sort of updates, trying to make it a bit more effective, but overall it just still never managed to one-hit the likes of Groot and other things. So hopefully with this change, it should hopefully work out a bit better, but it also has a new effect, which now pulls in nearby enemies within 15-meter radius during the cast charge. Maximum pull speed is up to 2.5 meters per second, so hopefully this means that anytime that this ability is now used, it is not going to be the least feared ultimate ability in the entire game, which for the most part it is, especially in competitive, with the likes of so many different ultimates or just general abilities being able to stop her and prevent her from actually using it. The likes of Winter Soldier, Penny Parker, or even the likes of Luna Snow. So many different ones I can name. They all counter this ultimate ability, so maybe this will make it a bit better and more viable, and this new change should hopefully make her a bit more of a meta hero. I do actually have the character Lord, so I'm actually all for this. I won't necessarily be playing her because I am Lord farming in the background, but so any character I basically get to Lord I don't really use, but it will be interesting to see how she's played out and in case she can be used at any different time in a more meta-worthy environment. Now, Bucky is getting a handy improvement to his close quarters control, with the Trooper's Fist gaining a new effect, which in the second strike now applies a 1-second debuff to enemies hit, basically preventing them from using any mobility abilities, which I fear is going to be overpowered because crowd control abilities are also really difficult to try and manage. And I think Winter Soldier in itself, with the amount of sustain and easy to sort of hit damage output, therefore I think maybe this change might make it a bit stupid versus flyers, like maybe the likes of Iron Man, Human Torch, Storm. I think maybe that's going to be a real problem when he's in the mix, but we'll have to see again how it plays out. Invisible Woman has had an increase to the slow effect to enemies that pass through the Guardian Shield from 30% to 35%, as well as an increase to Invisible Boundary, the ultimate ability, the healing per second output from 165 to now 180, with a new effect that now slows enemies within range by 20%. I think Invisible Woman has not had enough love shown over the past few seasons, and I think this is a great one that we should hopefully see play out in the new season, and hopefully this is a great addition, make her more of a meta-worthy healer. As well as that, Jeff has had his ultimate ability that now leaves an 8-meter radius healing pool at the point of activation that now heals allies within range by 100 health per second. Healing pool lasts for 8 seconds in duration, and I think this is a massive, significant change, because before, Jeff in Season 2 was like stupidly sort of viable in sort of the DPS role. He was more like a DPS Jeff, not that great as a healer, and then now since the change in Season 3, he became more of a healer Jeff, and people still weren't necessarily happy, but I think this ultimate ability change, this new effect, will massively make him more viable, and especially in a 3 support setup where he's going to be way more effective. And then as well as this, we've also had Mantis, had the slightest of buffs, where her movement boost from the Nature's Favor ability now decays to 0 over 2 seconds after being hit, instead of instantly just disappearing, so that's just a slight sort of buff in itself. And then Ultron finally has had his ultimate ability, has a new effect, which now deals 125% damage to any bonus health, which again isn't that big a deal, but for the most part, when the likes of a rocket ult is used or anything like that, this is definitely going to be more viable and just making that much more better. And I think Ultron is almost in good hands where he is anyways. Now moving on to the nerfs, first up is Captain America, where he's had his team up anchor bonus, the 5% damage boost, completely removed from the game. I don't know if this was necessary at all, because I have played Cap quite a lot. I'm trying to get really good at him. I don't think his damage output was that insane anyway, but in good hands, I'm sure this is like a really good character anyway. For the most part, we all know a good Cap is almost unkillable, but the damage output itself, I don't think that was necessary. And again, anytime you refer to someone being in good hands or like a high skill player, it doesn't really matter what it is. You're more catering this towards the casual players and the lower skill players, because for the most part, that is where the majority of players are. But we've also had Emma Frost has eventually been nerfed, increasing her diamond form cooldown from 15 to now 18 seconds, and also reducing the telepathic pulse energy gained from hitting things like shields from 10 seconds to now only 5 seconds, which I don't think is necessary in its slightest as well. She has or been absolute meta and S tier tank ever since she's arrived, so I guess I kind of understand why they want to make her a bit weaker. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm a Vanguard main myself. I really enjoy using this character, and I don't really think it was necessary to sort of make big nerfs to the character, but I understand in its entirety as to why they don't want this character, just like Luna and Loki being absolutely viable, which we'll go on to shortly. Black Panther has had a reduction in the bonus health that he gains when striking vibranium marked enemies with Spirit Rend from 30 down to 25, and also reduced his base health from 300 to 275. However, he is a part of the new team ability. Again, I'll get over to it shortly. Sai has also had a decrease to the retrieval damage from the wing shurikens per hit from 12 to now 8. I don't think it's a massive deal, but I do think she's a really strong hero in the Season 3 in itself, so I think going into Season 4, she should see a slightest nerf, and I think this might just do the trick. Squirrel Girl finally has had a nerf with the reduced burst Acorn damage down from 110 to now 100. However, they have then slightly balanced this off kinda by increasing the hit damage of the Squirrel blockade from 35 to now 50, but then finally again, they've then nerfed and increased the Mammal Bond cooldown from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. So overall, in the end, this is a big nerf in the grand scheme of things, because she's going to not be able to use that sort of reset ability to be able to double jump or be able to basically use the Acorn over and over again, which I think is a great feature in itself. And I cannot stand this character. I think she's the most brain dead character in all of Marvel Rivals, and this is a good thing to see her character in itself being nerfed. And hopefully in Season 4, we just don't see this character used at all, because for the most part, it's just a stupid character. And then Loki, as well as this, they've reduced the illusions damage and healing ratio from 100% to 80% on his sort of illusion itself, as well as reducing the God of Mischief ultimate ability, the shapeshifter period, from 15 seconds down to 12 seconds. And if you using active duration abilities such as Luna Snow's ultimate, they've reduced the shapeshifter sort of residual period as well after the ability actually ends from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. So overall, they've actually done quite a lot of nerfs to Loki here. Again, like I was saying with Emma, they just kind of want to maybe see more variety in the map pool and the player pool in itself. We've not seen the same two healers the entire game, which Luna and Loki have just been so good and so dominant for so long now. And then finally, Luna has had a nerf, guys. She's finally seen the day with a reduction in the Fate of Both Worlds ultimate ability. The duration has been reduced from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. Not a significant and massive like nerf in itself in the sense that her abilities have been hindered, but the fact that the ultimate lasts 2 seconds less makes it way more balanced because this ultimate was just stupid. I know it takes slightly longer to earn, but for the grand scheme of things, using this ultimate was just like the most stupid thing, with not many things in the entire game that actually could sort of pick her out of it other than like maybe Hawkeye's ultimate or the likes of Iron Man. So it just is nice to see some changes. Seeing Loki and Luna get nerfed is great. It's about time. There's so many great supports which just, like I said, couldn't previously compete at that high level, so hopefully this helps. Now onto the team abilities. The first one is the newest to the game with Angela, the new hero, which she shares with the Divine Armory with Thor. And for Angela, as the team up anchor, she will gain 100 bonus health, and then Thor gains a new Thunderstrike Pike ability from the team ability with Angela, which looks insane. And as I said earlier in the video, I will be making a separate guide going forward in the new season as soon as it launches with Angela and going over all the details, so just stay tuned and look out for that. They've also adjusted and removed a couple of team ups as well, with the first one being the Arcane Order, the Doctor Strange Scarlet Witch, and now Magic, where Magic joins the Order and unlocks a new magical chain of Cataract ability through her team ability with Doctor Strange, which looks really cool, and we'll go over that again in more detail shortly. Whilst the Dimensional Shortcut, the Magic Psylocke team ability, has been banished to Limbo and removed from the game entirely, Black Panther loses the Wakandan Master ability previously attained from his team up with Magic, but instead the Gamma Charge team ability with Hulk, Namor, and now Black Panther, where he joins the Gamma team up and gains the Gamma Vibranium armor ability through his team up with Hulk, which now gives BP an overshield when he drops below 100 health. So I think this is going to help him with the fact that he got nerfed in his base health, but overall you're going to have a Hulk in order for him to actually be more viable, which is a great thing because I cannot stand the character just like Squirrel, a really ridiculous character to play against on console, just makes the lives of supports miserable. And in addition to this, they've also implemented some balance changes with the Arcane Order, reducing the Sorcery Surge explosion damage upon hit from 12 down to 6, a massive hit to the likes of Scarlet Witch. But I'm not going to lie, this was a very overpowered ability. As I have got a Lord and I've used this time and time again, I do think this is a good change. And that's pretty much it in summary, guys. Following the latest Season 4 update, the game should feel very different with the buffs and nerfs, team ability changes, and of course the new hero Angela, which I cannot wait to get right into playing her, seeing as I am a Vanguard main myself, nearly having all of the tanks in the game to Lord. So I'm really looking forward to having another one to grind out in itself, which should be really refreshing, and I'm super excited to play it. I cannot wait for Season 4. And if you guys have enjoyed the video, as always, do not forget to like and subscribe. It massively helps me out. I'm a small creator, as you can see. If you have any comments or thoughts about Season 4 as a whole, or any upcoming updates, let me know down below in the comments and I'll get back to you. Just to remind you guys, I am producing an Angela guide next week, so stay tuned. Look out for that on the channel. I'm Vision SGen. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.